about in week 5. I'm talking upsets. I'm talking about Cinderella stories, all of that. They know what's going on. The real deal, we in the building. 2022, October, we here. Let's go.
It's the real deal. Stats, facts. It's the real deal. Sports. Tell me who you deal, is the deal real? Is you gon' prove to be phony? Yes, I'm in the field trying to get a meal. A lot of folks saying we home. It's home. Literally sending no hits that blitz. Take his little pack, pick 6 a brick. Play the itch back, can't miss, I'm lit. Boy, you so sad for less than it. I don't got no friends, I can't trust none of them.
College football features a lot of big-time games. One game in particular, North Carolina State versus Clemson. North Carolina State is going into Death Valley to try to get a win. Guys, if you ask me personally, I don't think they can stand the heat. I seen what Clemson did last week when they played Wake Forest in the thriller. DJ Ungdelay showed that he is the man, that he won't fall under pressure. Clemson, I'm sticking with you. I had you on upset alert last week, Clemson, but I'm sticking with you. Of course, we know what Miami did last week. They shitted a brick, so you really ain't got too much in the ACC. It's slick a mid-conference. But back to what I was saying. DJ, he proved his worth last week. He showed that he has intangibles. I think the announcer said he lost 30 pounds. That was huge for that young man, and he threw 5 touchdowns and nearly 400 yards, if I'm not mistaken. Unfortunately for Clemson, North Carolina State has a decent defense, stingy defense, only allowing 11 points a game. Clemson is favored by 6.5, and I expect them to survive this ACC game 24-17. Next matchup of unbeaten features a big blue Kentucky team who are primed for a big-time stand in the college football world. That Kentucky's not just a basketball school. And just looking at Kentucky, it's a very attractive school as it is. They've always had a really, really strong cheerleading team. And basketball is insane at Kentucky. We know the people they put in the league. With the NIL coming to a school like Kentucky, it won't do nothing but attract more success for Kentucky via the brand of Kentucky. So Kentucky is primed for a big college football team. Shout out to Rich Brooks. I mean, what's the Stoops brothers? They facing Ole Miss and Lane Kiffin. Ole Miss is also undefeated. The two teams are very, very similar. You know what I'm saying? I did look at the schedule of the Kentucky Wildcats, and their schedule with the Florida win is way, way more attractive to me than what Ole Miss did, and that was beat Troy. Shout out to Troy. But I look for the Wildcats to win 35-27. If you look at UCLA's schedule, I was looking at it earlier. UCLA whooped up on Alabama State, and then they barely squeezed by South Alabama. So I'm not really looking for nothing to happen with UCLA. I like Washington and Michael Penix Jr. to show everybody why he's a legitimate Heisman candidate. I like Washington big over UCLA. Furthermore, we have good games such as Alabama versus Arkansas, Oklahoma, TCU, Texas Tech, Kansas State, Army, Navy. Well, not for real, but salute to the troops. You know we're going to shoot. Michigan plays Iowa. And to be quite honest, I like Michigan to cover the 11-point spread against the Hawkeyes. From watching the Michigan versus Iowa game last year, Iowa showed me nothing. Receivers get no separation downfield. They try the old school run game. They coach Slick been on my hot seat. Kirk Ferentz, whatever his name is, he Slick been on my hot seat, but I'm going to let him slide. Simply because he's been there for a long time, but he's not won nothing in their mid-conference. No disrespect to the Big Ten West, but the Big Ten East ain't talking about nothing. The other rematch of the championship conference game includes Oklahoma State versus Baylor. We all remember last year what happened when Oklahoma State and Baylor played. That game came down to the wire, literally to the wire. That rematch should be just as good as the championship from last year. We all remember what happened last year with Oklahoma State when the guy The running back, I think may have caught a flanker to the outside, or it could have been a toss. But anyway, it was an outside play. The runner, instead of kind of moving forward, getting vertical, he went sideways and tried to jump in, and they lost the game. It may have been like 2 overtimes that game. But yeah, that should be a good matchup. It's a 2-point spread in favor of Baylor, who I don't expect to cover. I like Oklahoma State to get their revenge back this year against the Baylor Bears. Number 7 Baylor Bears, if I'm not mistaken. Alabama versus Arkansas will be just as good as the Auburn and LSU game. I expect the Tide to handle business against the Razorbacks, but don't expect it to be no cakewalk, Bama. Don't expect it to be no cakewalk. Because Arkansas is coming. Unfortunately, Arkansas lost to Texas A&M last week, which tarnished what they got going on. But it ain't going to be no cakewalk. I like Bama to win the game 38-35. I would take a first half bet on you, Bama, but I can't. I don't know what my receiving core is. You know, Bryce a little sketchy. You know, he kind of want to run. He need to run sometime. I ain't really with that. But moving forward to the Auburn and LSU game, in which the Tigers are favored by 9 to win, in which I necessarily just can't guarantee that's a lie. It's kind of like when you see a dog trapped in the corner. That's how I feel Brian Harson's situation is. Auburn got him by the balls. Auburn got this man by the balls, facing all the allegations. Shout out to his daughter, she cute too. But got him facing all the allegations. But this man corner. If Brian Harsin want to rise and keep grinding, because I was very impressed what he did last year in a couple of his games. But Brian Harsin, if you want to rise and keep going, win this game against LSU, it'll have the same effect that the win for Mike Norvell had at the beginning of this year for Florida State. You and Mike Norvell right there, neck and neck. Mike Norvell, former Memphis, and you, former Boise State. If you win this game against LSU, it'll show that you can compete. You can play big-time ball. You will be 4-1. I like Auburn to win that football game. Toilet Bowl. Ooh, the Toilet Bowl game of the week. The Toilet Bowl game of the week. Who can't buy a stop on defense? Ooh, the Toilet Bowl. The Toilet Bowl game of the week includes UNC versus Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech, who just lost to Neil Brown. They slick saved Neil Brown job with that win. But unfortunately, the ACC Coastal is super, super mid. Virginia Tech is actually leading in that division right now. And we all know Virginia Tech lost to Old Dominion, a Sun Belt school, at the beginning of the year. So this is my Toilet Bowl. UNC can't buy a stop. App State was on them boys the first game of the year. I watched it, 63-62, something similar. But, hey, I got to go with them, though. I got to go with UNC. And that's in the air. This is a game that you don't take. You leave this game alone. This is the Toilet Bowl game. This is the slimiest slimy, the grimiest grimy game of the week. Leave it alone. For all my gamblers, all my bettors, this ain't the game for you. You'll get scraped up. Hey, they wrecking your sides in this one big time. They know what's going on. We giving out 3 locks this week. And this is what I'm going to do. This is what you can put on your paper. Shout out to Donald D. You know, trying to get me to flex a little bit more, but hey, we ain't nothing too major. You know what I'm talking about? But 3 locks this week includes Air Force over Navy. Air Force is a lock king. If you want to win some money, go with Air Force every week. They haven't missed. The Air Force ain't missing. Chair Force, as they like to call them. But yeah, I expect Air Force to cover the 14-point spread. My other lock for the week will be Ohio State first half. They're going to blast Rutgers for 21 points in the first half. That's your guaranteed lock. I want to put Georgia up there, and I feel like I can put Georgia up there. Georgia plays Missouri this week. But for Georgia, you know, they was playing geek with Kent State last week. But, hey, I will take Georgia. I will take Georgia with 24 points? Georgia can score 28 in the first half. to Missouri's 3. So LSU, I'm going to go ahead and be real with you. LSU, you are on the cloud. You are on the cloud. Talk to him, Brian Harsin. Talk to him. LSU on the clock this week for the upset alert, along with Western Kentucky. Shout out to my Troy Trojans. We here. Troy, one thing I can't say about Troy is Troy got the defense. That's another one of my upsets of the week. Kansas, I'm going to be honest with you. Kansas, you're on upset alert. Also, Kansas, you need to be 4-8 or you can go undefeated. This is the moment of survival for Kansas. So look for Kansas, look for LSU, look for Western Kentucky, possibly upset this week. Willie's upset of the week. The Will Deal upset of the week.